Hi everyone.
Hello everyone, I am Arya Pandey, a second year software engineering student from Delhi Technological University and an IEEE DTU executive. Today, IEEE DTU in collaboration with IEEE WIE proudly presents to you WIExperience, an event where the adroit panelists who have paved their own way into major tech industries and are working as successful women in STEM would be interacting with aspiring women engineers and sharing how they ace the field of technology, while at the same time shedding light on how you can do the same. A little bit about IEEE Day for all those who are new here. IEEE Day celebrates the time when IEEE members and engineers worldwide gathered to share their technical ideas in 1884. Worldwide celebrations demonstrate the ways thousands of IEEE members in local communities join together to collaborate on ideas that leverage technology for a better tomorrow. IEEE DTU is going to do the same, and this evening we hope this collaboration will help a lot of you. So, as it was rightly said by someone, that a voyage to become a maestro in any field is tough, yet an interesting one. All those obstacles and hurdles which came in their way have been successfully dusted by all these women. Now, without any further ado, let us meet our special guests. Please welcome our panelists, Shatakshi ma'am, who she is currently the chairperson of IEEE student branch of Modi University of Science and Technology. She has also bagged the prestigious Richard E. Mervyn, that is the REM scholarship. Next, we have on the panel Ishita Sharma ma'am, who is currently working as an SD at the reputed e-commerce company that everyone knows about, Amazon. Next up on the panel, we welcome Palak Aggarwal ma'am. She is currently pursuing a master's degree at Georgia Institute of Technology and is also a DTU alumni. Lastly, we welcome upon the panel Ayushi Keshwani ma'am, who is currently a software developer at Citibank and has worked at DRDO as a former intern. She's also a DTU alumni. Thank you, ma'am, for taking out your precious time and joining us today at this event. I'm sure everyone will learn a lot from today's event. Now I hand over the panel to Anika and Adira.
Hello everyone, I am Anika. I'm a second year ENE student at DTU and also an IEEE executive.
Hello everybody, my name is Adira Nair. I'm a second year automobile engineering student and I'm an IEEE executive as well.
So, my first question is for Shatakshi ma'am. You were awarded the prestigious Richard E. Mervyn Scholarship in August this year. Can you give us some tips for answering applicant questions?
Sure. So thank you for the welcome, Arya, Anika, and Adira. And coming to the question, you are asking about the Richard E. Melvin Scholarship, but I'll give a very general answer. Which, if anyone is applying for any scholarship, you can definitely try on these tips. So before applying to any scholarship or any application, just go through the details and check out what is the objective of that scholarship. What is it like? Who are they aiming to? What kind of a applicant do they feel is apt for that scholarship? Then if you feel that okay, like considering the Richard E. Melvin scholarship, it is for someone who is willing to pursue higher education, to be involved in education, and has contributed to IEEE, has volunteered enough for IEEE. So when I saw the application, like all the criteria, I felt like it is for me. I was feeling like, yeah, I'm fitting well for like to be a deserving applicant. So just select the applications wisely, because there are a lot of applications, and if you go and apply to all, you will literally end up getting tired and not even applying to those where you should actually apply. So select very wisely. Once you have selected and decided that okay, these are the scholarships or any kind of awards or anything which I want to apply for, then just go on with whatever what all other requirements, because these applications generally have a lot of requirements. They really demand you writing such long answers. Then you need the LORs and everything. So prepare in advance, because it won't be possible to do it all at the last moment. Check out all the requirements, whatever is required, letter of recommendation or anything that is required, any kind of document from your college, because it is difficult task to get it from there on time. Then once you have all the documents and everything ready, simultaneously when you have applied for these documents, prepare your answers. Do not hesitate at all when you are writing the answers, because at my student branch, so my college is a women's college itself. So we have around 80 student members at our IEEE student branch. Only 2 to 3 of them are really applying for the scholarships, and others are simply rejecting themselves maybe. So they come to me and say that I don't have any experience in IEEE and I'm a new member. So what should I write here? Then I told them that okay, you have done this. I list down the things for them what they have done. So they have contributed, but they don't know that these are the things which they can write in the application. So do not think that the answers, especially Richard E. Mevin scholarship, they want the IEEE volunteering experience as well. So whatever you have done, just simply write it down and utilize that word limit. If it is 1,000 words, yeah, it is 1,000 words in REM application. So utilize all those 1,000 words and write everything which you have done. Do not self reject anything like okay, this is not significant or this is not. No, everything which we have done is significant and we should write in that application. So that should be the way you write applications. In fact, I'm not sure if you know or not, I was rejected by REM in my first attempt. So that time I also rejected some of the things myself, that okay, I volunteered in my first year as like I did very basic things like making posters and arranging some things for the event. So I didn't mention them all. So but then next time when I applied, I mentioned everything which I did, and that might be the reason that I got selected. So write each and everything, utilize that word limit, whatever is there in any application, and don't exaggerate the point. So write a lot of things, but do not write in detail about them until and unless it is required. So that should be the way I believe. It worked for me. It should also work for others. So this is my suggestion for applying to any scholarship. So the important points or the key points are that start on time, because at the end it's going to be really hectic. Then read about it carefully, whatever are the requirements, because it might be possible at the last day when you are filling the form, you come to know that okay, this was also required, and now you can't arrange it at the last moment. So that will spoil all your efforts. So know well, read about that and be aware what are the requirements and everything. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you for the great advice, ma'am. My next question is for Ayushi, ma'am. It's comparatively harder to get placed into software profiles from non-tech branches. So, how did you prepare for it, and what do you think are the important skills to acquire?
You said it right. It is difficult for non-tech background people to get placed in tech background companies. So my advice would be, first of all, many people who are from non-tech background, they don't apply. They hesitate a lot. They should not be doing that, because see, if you have the proper skills, you should not fear the exam or the test or the interview. You should just go for it. So confidence is the key here. If you know something, you should see we already lack in something. We are not, we are at par with the tech people, but we have one disadvantage, that we are not from the tech background. So to compensate for that, we should be as good as in the tech subjects as them. So first of all, what I did was I worked really hard on my coding skills, because that is what will ultimately get you to the job. So, and secondly, all the computer science subjects, be it operating system, be it database management system, we think that only coding skills will get us there, but it's not the case. You should be thorough with those also, because the interviewer will ask you those, and that when you don't know the answers, they know that you're not from CSE background, so they take it as a disadvantage and it will be a minus point for you. So it would be better if you know all the subjects. And thirdly, practice a lot, because whenever we apply for companies, the questions they ask are repetitive. It's not that they make up questions on their own or it's something out of the world. You know answers, you know everything is available. So the best thing would be to practice a lot, because many a times I have appeared for interview and I have been asked questions that I have never repeated. So that was really helpful, because once you know something, once you have seen something, it is much better. It's much easier for you to answer that question, and you like you can approach the same question in a lot of ways. If you're doing it for the first time of you, or if you're seeing it for the first time, you might hesitate or you might stumble, fumble a little. So those things, you know, get you a little back. So practice as much as you can. And my last advice would be, it would be really helpful if you have a few projects in the domain. And before applying, if you don't have any project, before applying for the job profile, you should look up a little more on the profile or look up a little more about the company, because that also matters. If you know something about the profile, it would really help you in the interview. The interviewer would, at least think that you have interest in the profile, or you will at least work towards it. So just do your research properly.
Okay. So you believe that consistent practice is the key to success in this area, and
Yeah,
also that being well informed about your profile really helps, whatever you're
yeah, yeah,
applying. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you so much for your answer. So my next question is for Palak ma'am. Ma'am, you're currently pursuing a master's degree at Georgia Institute of Technology. Do you have any advice for the students who are preparing for their masters abroad?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say that the kind of education the international schools provide is not the only thing that you have to look forward to. I think when I came here, I did not know this, but it's also offering a lot of other things like brand new perspectives and so many different things like cultural exchange and all. So I have two advices to students who are applying for masters abroad. One is that GRE score is not the only important thing. GRE is probably the least important. You have to just give it and get away with it. Most important thing is your SOP. So your SOP should really needs to speak your story, and you really need to tell what has brought you to this point in time and why you want to apply. It's the most important thing for me. I think the selection committee really looks into your SOP. And the second advice I would like to give is, do not be either underconfident or overconfident. I have amazing friends who had amazing score in GRE that scored above 330, but they couldn't get into any universities because they were overconfident and they applied only to ambitious universities. So I made it a point to apply to at least two ambitious universities and at least one safe university. It doesn't matter if you get into it or not, but you need to apply to good universities, and it gives you confidence also, even if you get into a safe university and you don't accept their admit. It gives you a lot of confidence that you did actually get into a university. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for sharing your experience, ma'am. The next question is for Ishita, ma'am. You're currently working as an SDE at Amazon. So, how did you prepare to bag this role?
Okay, so that takes me back to the internship days when we first started preparing. Um, I would say, talking about the roadmap, how one should prepare for any SD role at major tech firms, if I'm talking about farm companies. So I think the preparation should be started as early as possible. If you're in first year, start with your, if you are from CSC branch or computer centered branches, then it's very like good to have. Definitely you will have some strong points. But even if you are from different branch, from electrical or some other branches, and you want to start early, then like as soon as possible you start with the preparation. And the preparation would definitely include all the basic things that every company expects from an interviewee. So start with the core concepts. In DTU, if I talk about DTU, they are also such concepts are also taught in courses as well, like DSA, OOPS, and OS, computer networks. All these concepts are already taught in college. So if so, it would be even better to have
good CGP as well if you prepare for these subjects and just practice a little about these things. So, and also these courses, they majorly come in your second year or mostly in third year, what do you call it, odd semester. So that would be even helpful for your internship and placement interviews, since these subjects, the questions from these subjects are asked in interviews as well. Then coming to the coding part, because that is the most important one. Competitive coding would be a plus, but talking about myself, I wasn't really very much involved in competitive coding, like doing questions on Code Forces and CodeChef. Though it is a little, I was a little bit at disadvantage, but I won't say that it didn't stop me from getting any role at big companies. So it's okay if you want to focus half on the projects, and if you are having some interest in building some apps, let's say websites, or you are just interested in any kind of software development or any stuff that you like, feel free to invest on it. And even if like you are interested in some research projects, say it will help you in your major as well in fourth year, and that will also add a part in your resume as well, that you worked on this thing and you have experience building, let's say, Android apps, some websites, you have Django experience. So that is definitely a plus point. And like if you want to take the way that I took, so I personally uh, practiced a lot from first interview bit. So interview, I'm talking in a little bit detail, would that be fine? Like exact
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
you. Okay, perfect. So, like, I started from interview bit because it has a good collection of questions according to the topic wise. So, if you want to start from the topic wise building of not only your concepts, for example, DSA, all the data structures and the algorithms that we use, then start from it, then move on to lead code. It has a vast amount of question bank available. And also that one thing that I find really helpful in at lead code is the discussion tab. So basically, if you have attempted a question and say you got the accepted solution as well, but still try to look up on how others implemented that particular solution, and how you can optimize that solution. Because in interview, like now at Amazon, when I am also taking interviews, so I will definitely prefer a candidate who has given me multiple approaches, and starting from the naive approach, he has optimized a lot, and finally has given me a very very nice working and optimized solution in both in terms of space and time complexity. And so yeah, this would really help you. And when you are like appearing for a test for a particular company or an interview for a particular company, please make sure that you go through the interview experiences that are already there on Geeks for Geeks. So that will basically give you an idea about what exactly is asked in interviews, and it is very very related to what actually is happening and what you can expect in an interview. So, interview experiences would be a very, very plus point while preparing. I think this would be a really nice roadmap to have, and one can follow to get a role. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that was a really insightful answer. And let's move on to our next question. So, my next question is again for Shatakshi ma'am. You worked as an artificial intelligence researcher. How did you get into the field?
Okay, so when I started my bachelor's in computer science and engineering, I was not knowing, like what I knew about computer science was I'll be coding and coding. That's it. I was knowing that yeah, coders make website and these, but I was not really knowing that how the things happen. I was having no idea about it. So when I came to first year, the subjects were like you can literally finish them in a week or so. If you are attending classes, you can do. And at our college, we really did not have an environment where people are participating in hackathons and everything. So I was having. I was not having any guidance as such from my seniors, but then my friends who were in other colleges, we used to participate. Now, when because everyone says that okay, do coding, so I was also doing the same. But then when I participated in the first hackathon, the question statement was that build a solution for crowdsourcing. I was like, okay, I was practicing coding, but then how to build a solution for crowdfunding. First I searched what is crowdfunding, and then I came to know that they are expecting a website. I was not knowing how to build a website. So that time I was in first year, I was knowing coding, but how to use that those all the hacker and questions, and there was no connection of hacker and questions with the website. So that time I searched on net how to build in that hackathon itself, because now when I've participated, I'm sitting there, I cannot back out at that time. So I searched and I made a website using Wix. It was like drag and drop kind of thing. And the judges, when they came there, they rejected me directly. That they asked me, "Have you hosted this website?" I said, "No. I built it using this software, Wix." So it was a free trial which I was using. So they rejected it that time only, that this was not allowed. But that was fine, because if I would have left that place that I don't know web development, then that would be more insulting for me that time. So that was fine, the judges rejected, so no issues. I enjoyed sitting there for 48 hours and I was making that drag and drop website. Then okay, I'm diverted from the answer. The question was my how I get into this artificial intelligence research role. So then I explored other areas. I got to know that it is not only coding which is there in computer science. There are a lot of other things. So then I explored more, and I saw these all data science and machine learning things. So I got attracted towards them, but I was not knowing it was my real inclination, or is it, because when you scroll LinkedIn, you can see every other person is a data science enthusiast. So I was not knowing if it is my real inclination or it is just a craze, until I worked with my professor. So they were having some projects. I learned Python, so I helped them in their projects. So when I started working with them, I realized that this is something that is of my interest, and I worked with them. I worked on their papers, research projects. So I was just assisting them in their work, whatever small task they used to give me. I used to do that. But then my professor himself suggested me to do some internship or something in the machine learning or artificial intelligence role, so that I can get to know a bit more about it. Because what the professors were giving me to read was research papers, and there was so much mathematics in those papers. I was not able to relate it with whatever things. Like I took a course on Udemy, but the course was like you can make a linear regression model with 3 lines of code, and what my professor was giving was a page full of mathematical equations. So I could not relate them both. So I did this internship, artificial intelligence research internship, where I get to know that how. So there, like till now, there were 3 things. One was the Udemy course, the simple Python code for machine learning model. One side I had this thing, the mathematics, everything, all the equations and all. And now this was the third thing that was introduced to me. That was how these artificial intelligence things really work in production. How are these deployed, and all this. So at my internship as artificial intelligence researcher, I was simply exploring. I was not able to work a lot for them. It was more of a training for me. So it was a startup where I did this. So I was just learning more upon it about it, and that matlab, my working with professors was the way from where I get my way into to this research internship. And later I am still working with my professors, and I have some of the research papers which are published, and I'm looking forward to continue this. Even if I get into industry, I still would like to work on these research projects, and I've told them that I'll keep on working, and sometime later maybe Palak can really help me, and after this session I'll get in touch with her regarding it, like how to pave my way for masters using all these research papers. Maybe they can help to pursue masters later.
I
So this was how.
I think you
Yeah.
have a great profile to apply for masters right now also. You don't have to wait for anything.
Okay, so get ready to help me, and maybe I'll be with you there
Yes.
only.
Yes.
That's it. I think I stretched it too long.
Not at all, ma'am. Thank you so much for the answer. So the next question is for Ayushi, ma'am. Like you mentioned about projects in your previous answer, so I'd like to know what some projects that you worked on in your 4 years at DTU.
First of all, in my first year, I really didn't know what projects are. I had no idea how to start. I was very confused. I was completely lost on how to start, where to start from. So, in my second year, most of my batchmates were interning at DRDO because since my branch was physics related, people were usually interning at DRDO because they had a lot of research going on. So I was lucky enough to get an internship there. And I was even luckier because the project that I was working on that used the concepts of C++ and C programming. So that's how I decided that I want to continue coding, and that's how I got in the coding line. So for getting an internship at DRDO, I had no experience. All I did was I just mailed a few scientists over there, and one of them was kind enough to revert back to me, and he interviewed me. He asked me what all things I know, and at that time I just had basic knowledge on C++. So sir asked me to do a little more research and come up with the idea, and if he liked the idea he would be giving me an internship with him. So I came up with an idea and I worked on Arduino. So that really gave me an edge at the time of internship as well as placements because I had something to talk about during the interview. That was my first project. It was a sensor based project. It involved the use of Arduino and C++. After that, when I decided that I want to continue working in the coding line, I what I did was I worked on a project that involved the use of ML and data processing. It was basically a data analytics project. I used ML and data softwares like R to analyze the data and give out the trend for COVID-19 cases, daily cases. So that was my second project. And during the college duration, I did not do much projects. Mainly, I focused on coding and everything. And in the internship session, mainly, I got an internship early, so I did not work on projects. But I would really suggest my juniors, even after you bag an internship on campus, it would be better if you still keep working on something because it will only add to your skills and it will give you an edge over others at the time of placements.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. And let's move on to the next question. So, my next question is for Palak, ma'am. What was your experience like working as a research assistant at IIT Delhi?
Okay, so I think IIT Delhi is and will always be the dream college for aspiring engineers. But that said, working with IIT Delhi was both an eye opener and a very amazing learning experience for me. So it paved a path for me to switch my field from computer science to bioinformatics, and I was introduced to genomics there for the first time. And the professor was very kind. He was kind enough to know that I am not from a genomics or a biology background, and he'll need to spoon feed me a lot of bookish knowledge and everything else. But I feel like the kind of respect I had there, because of the wisdom I brought to the table, was immense. Like, I have worked in Citibank for 2 years, but I did not get that kind of respect from the employers in Citibank, and I was really humbled by the experience in IIT Delhi. That said, I also got a lot of exposure in genomics, and that is what also helped me come to Georgia Tech because of my experience in IIT Delhi. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So the next question is for Rishita, ma'am again. You have worked on several interesting projects. So, how much did these projects help you in getting your current role, and when should one start working on projects?
Okay. So, as I already mentioned in last answer as well, so as soon as possible, you should start working on projects, start building stuff, even if you don't have the basic knowledge for that particular thing. I'll give my example. So, after learning C as a programming language in first year, so I was actually interested in learning some bit of Java. So I studied some core concepts of Java, the syntax and stuff. Then I talked to some senior that what I can do, what I can build with Java, how can Java be helpful. So he guided me to actually try out Android apps development in Java. So that can be done in Kotlin as well. So I tried my hands on building apps, building Android apps, and I actually liked that. So I built a couple of apps, and when I actually, as Ayushi also mentioned, so when we, start the college, we don't have any idea about this thing that, okay, this little project of mine that I have just created a simple diary app, how to save notes. This can be once added in the resume and will be one of the core things that I will talk about in interview sometime. So these are the little things that you then get to add to your CV, and then you can talk about these in the interviews. So I would say, and there are, I will give you a couple of examples. So there are a few things that actually require this experience of having multiple projects, and these projects can be something that you build while participating in a hackathon as well. So let's say you built an app that did something, or you just gave a solution, prototype. So this can be also one of your projects that you can list down in CV, not just in achievement section that you won that hackathon or something, but also like this is what I have worked upon. So I'll give you example of how these projects help you in the interview. uh, okay, let's start with the resume shortlisting first. So you guys all be knowing that the first step whenever a company visits college during on-campus placement is the resume shortlisting. So that is not just done on the basis of Cgpa some of the times, and it also includes how thorough your resume is and how it can be matched to the couple of points that that particular company is looking for in a particular candidate. So one thing is that so these projects will help you build your CV, that you have so much experience, you have experience with Java, you have experience with developing websites, and you are also a team player. So these also show the soft skill of yours, that you have led a team, or you have shown a team experience, you are a team player. So not just these soft skills. Also, then coming to interview, because then there would be online assessment, the coding test, then you will be shortlisted, then you go to an interview. So now interview, I'll give you the example of Google. So Google has not just a coding rounds for interview, it also has a googliness round. So in that round you get to talk about the various uh, I would say soft skills kind of thing. It is oriented upon how you handled a particular event, let's say. um, um, if I were to give an example, so they will ask you that when was the time when you faced some conflict with your teammates, but you still managed to get through it. So these are the questions and these are the experiences that you will be getting from building things and working on projects. Also, if I talk about Amazon, so we have these questions related to the leadership principles of Amazon, where we talk about how a particular candidate delivered result in tight timelines. So instances for these particular things, and how a particular candidate focused on inventing and simplifying a particular solution. So if you haven't worked on any project, you do not know how to work with a team, then you won't be able to provide any instances for such kind of questions. And last point would be having a lot of things on your CV, from different domains, would actually help you in having a lot to talk about in an interview. So it won't be a case that the interviewer is only poking you, okay, now tell me about this thing. You yourself would be having a lot of on in your plate to talk about. So definitely these things help.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, my next question is for Shatakshi, ma'am. What kind of non-IEEE extracurricular activities do you recommend writing about in one's application?
Okay, so be it a application. So you mentioned non-IEEE. That is good because my resume was having a lot of IEEE related extracurricular. For IEEE members, that is an edge. You will get so many of extracurricular activities that resume the interviewer or the person who is checking the application will be tired. Okay, so much of IEEE. Apart from that, if it is something related to technical, because be it application or your resume, I think extracurricular activities like if you have some blogs which you are writing, if you have a YouTube channel of your own, if you own a Instagram page or any kind of social presence, whatever, so YouTube channel, Instagram page, blog, or anything which you have, you can mention that. uh, these are some things which people miss on. Even I missed on my Medium blogs during my interview. I mentioned it in one of my interview, and interviewer asked me right at that moment to share the link of the blog. So that maybe that helped me to clear that interview. And apart from this, some of your sports achievement can be helpful at some times, because uh, when you mention any achievement of sports, it tells a lot about you. Not just that, although people say that if you are playing basketball and if you are winning state level championships, that has nothing to do with the software engineering role or by getting selected in application, but it is not true. It helps. If you are playing a game, that means that you have a lot of other skills like teamwork, patience, and playing a sport and playing with a team, then winning at some stage require a lot of other things which are hidden behind that particular achievement. So these all things, do not hesitate to mention any kind of extracurricular activity which you do, and don't worry if it is related to that role or not. Only thing is that you should be good at it and you should be really enjoying it, because if you are writing, there are people who mention that they love playing basketball, and then when you ask them about the basketball court, they will not even know the dimensions of that court. So you should make sure that this kind of incidents should not happen, and whatever you are mentioning, you should love it, and write everything that you enjoy to do in your extracurricular or hobbies section. That's it.
That was a really insightful answer, ma'am. So the next question is again for Ayushi, ma'am. Could you talk a little more about your experience at DRDO?
Yeah, sure. So, like as I mentioned, to get the internship, I had to mail a lot of scientists at DRDO. One of them reverted back, and he asked me to come up with an idea to develop something which would help. Like the department in which I was interning was DTRL, which deals with landslides and natural calamities. So he asked me to come up with an idea to resolve a problem of floods. So I came up with something to build a project, and the something that would involve the use of sensors and coding to basically update the data dynamically on a server, and from that server the data would be fed to a code at the back end, which would then again give the data to an app which would alert the residents of a particular area regarding flood. So the idea was simple because it's just an idea, but the implementation was really hard because you have to decide what all things you're gonna need, because the scientists just asked me to come up with an idea, all the implementation, all the back end things and everything. I was supposed to do it on my own. So I had to decide what all sensors I'll be using. I had to decide the specifications and everything. That was really tough because I had just 10 days to come up with a plan and I had to show two senior scientists. And if they liked it, only then I would be working on that. So that phase was really challenging. So what I did was I went through a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of blogs and a lot of projects that other people have done, which were in the similar domain but not exactly same. And using all of that and gaining insights from all of those, I came up with an idea of my own. So like when I presented the idea, they liked it and they asked me to work more on it. They gave me next 10 days to develop the code for it. So I worked like for 15. I extended my time because it was not possible for me to work alone on that. So I took 15 days and I came up with a code, and they gave me some more time to show them a working model. So after everything was done, I was supposed to present it in front of their head, who was basically both the scientists were under that person, and I had to present my idea to them. I was working on this project with another person from another college. So he was supposed to be dealing with the machine learning part, and rest all of the other things I was supposed to do. So it was really important to first of all know basic programming, and then secondly it is really important that you are ready to invest time in something that you are completely new to, because I had no idea about sensors. It is completely electronics. So I had to invest time in learning about different types of sensors and different type of implementation. I failed a lot of times. Like there were times when I was working on a particular sensor and I invested 2 days in it and I still could not get anywhere with that. So I had to change it. So that this is something I really learned from this experience, that there will be times when you will get stuck, but the best thing would be to move on and not think that I've already invested so much time, so I just need to get it right. So moving on from from situations where you get stuck is really important, otherwise you will get nowhere. And then ultimately, after all of it was done, I was supposed to uh, after the presentation, I was supposed to build a completely working model. Like whatever I had done was on smaller scale, and at the end I had to do all of it on larger scale. So that was about the whole internship. This is all I had to do in that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, moving on to the next question. My next question is for Palak, ma'am. Palak, ma'am, you came from a background of biology during your schooling and then switched to mathematics and computing in your undergraduate. Can you walk us through your journey with the switch and its unique challenges?
Okay, so it was seemingly very tough in the beginning. My morale was very low, and seeing all the students around me from institutes like FITG and VMC acing in programming languages, participating in class, it brought my confidence even lower. So I I made up my mind and I knew that I had to survive this college. So I joined an out of college coaching. I think it was called Coding Blocks. It was a 3 months coaching, but yeah, it really brushed up all my coding skills like data, data types, and data structures, and everything else. And I think if you just put your mind to something, and if you learn something every day, you make up a point to learn something every day in that field, you can ace it. And I also made up my mind that I'll do internships no matter what in this field. And I did internships every year in my winter break. I used to go for an intern, be it in a finance company like KPMG or Paytm. And even if I didn't know anything, I made sure to ask questions and just get the job done, even if it took a lot of time for me. And I know they didn't like me in a lot of places, but I personally learned a lot from every company that I worked in. Yeah, that's it.
That's really inspiring, ma'am. So, Ishita, ma'am, just like Palak ma'am talked about internships, so when do you think is the right time to start filling internship forms?
So first, I think juniors, if we talk about, they should target on the on-campus internship drive. Um, that I think basically starts at the end uh, of July. And I would say DTU is a really good place for placements, and all the big companies visit DTU. And if you have prepared well, then you will get ample chances of appearing at multiple companies, and you get to apply in different companies if at DTU. So once like you have tried in all those companies, but you are still like not getting rejections or not able to clear some test or something, or you need to prepare a little bit more around the coding, around coding or building up concepts for DS algo and other core CS concepts, then I would say at least like go for all the companies for on-campus internship drive for at least 2 months, and then you can start for asking referrals for off-campus job openings. If I talk about Amazon, then not specifically for internship, but for placement for full-time offers, we always have openings in different teams in at different locations. So you can try contacting your seniors, and you can just start uh, applying right away for off-campus job openings. And I think in even semester, many companies have off-campus drives as well for placements. Um, I think Amazon only had this drive back in Feb when I was applying. Also, recruiters may also reach out to you on LinkedIn as well if you have a very nice profile on LinkedIn. It was a case with me. So, like, I would say that build your LinkedIn profile good as well. Mention your projects, your Cgpa, your experience, and also click on that open to recruitment or that setting that we have in LinkedIn, so that recruiters know that you are open for getting offers or something. So I think that's it. And DTU also has a very nice senior junior network, I would say. So it would be very easy for a DTU student to get referral for off-campus job openings. And you can reach out to me as well for Amazon. I would say I would not mind. I think that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very insightful answer. So, my next question is for Shatakshi, ma'am. What are some of the things to be kept in mind to draft a strong ambassador vision statement?
Okay. So this question is specifically for the REM scholarship because the application is having a question to it's like 1,000 word answer for what will be your vision if you are selected for the scholarship, and if you are selected then you have to serve as a student ambassador for Computer Society for next 2 years. So you have to write a vision statement in that in 1,000 words. So this vision statement is really important. This is having, I think, 15 or 25% weightage. I don't remember exactly. So, in this ambassador statement, vision statement, we should make sure that whatever we are writing should go in line with what is the vision of Computer Society for the student. So, like if you read about the uh, what are they expecting from the student ambassador, then it is that the student ambassador will create some awareness about the Computer Society, the opportunities it offers to the student members. There are a lot of conferences which we as a student member and having a Computer Society, IEEE Computer Society membership, we get a lot of concession on the conference fees. We get travel allowances, and I was not able to travel a lot because since I was in second year, this all COVID restrictions are there. But then my motivation was to become an IEEE Computer Society member was to attend the conferences at the different places. Not really to attend conferences, but to visit a lot of places. So this was something I was not able to get during my college, but I'll surely try to get it later on. So these are some of the things which people don't know when they are taking the membership. They only see that uh, whatever is happening at their student branch is what IEEE is. It's not like that. So as a student ambassador, you should make sure that you fulfill this vision of computer society to create an awareness about these scholarship, the travel grants we are having, the magazines, the IEEE Potential magazine, and Spectrum, and other things which we are getting on mail, which most of us do not really go through. So this is what they want from the student, and this question is having three sub questions. So if you, I do not really remember those three sub questions, but it is the best way to answer that question is because I myself did some research. I talked to people who who got selected for the REM in the previous cycles. So they also suggested to write this answer in four paragraphs, three paragraphs answering those three sub questions, and the fourth one concluding it all together. So one thing which you should make sure, and I'll repeat it, but then it is worth repeating, that your vision should go in line with the vision of computer society. Then you should explain what are the ways, like how will you do it. Like we see that student branches are really well connected. This is just an example. The people who are applying can think of more. So the student branches are connected, but I know IEEE DTU is there. You know that IEEE Modi is there, but do you know anything about IEEE Computer Society chapter of Modi University? No, even I don't know about the Computer Society chapters of other student branches. So a connection between the student branches of same section and same region is somewhere lagging. So I use this point in my application. So you can think of some other things which are lagging and which you can work on as a student ambassador. So now since I am selected for the scholarship, now once I get into my role as a student ambassador, I'll definitely work on some ideas to make sure that these student branches are interconnected and they know each other. So this is how you should describe, like what will you do and how will it affect the current situation. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really good advice. My next question is for Ayushi, ma'am. Could you please walk us through your recruitment process at Citibank?
Yeah, so during the recruitment for City, we had three rounds. The first was online coding round, in which we had both aptitude questions as well as coding questions. One thing I would like to really stress upon is many a times people just don't pay attention to the aptitude questions. Many people skip through it. Many people just don't answer them properly. But it is equally important in the, especially in banks, because they are looking for someone with good aptitude as well. So it is really important, to pay equal attention to both of those sections. So the first section was aptitude section, and the second one was coding section in the same online test, which was for about 90 minutes. Many of my friends got both the coding questions right, but still could not make it because they did not attempt the apti section properly. So any junior who is going to appear for Citibank, I would really suggest that give equal attention to both. Secondly, after once I was done with the coding round, I was called up for the interview. In the interview, we had two rounds. The first one was technical, and the second one was partly technical and partly related to HR. So, in the first round, they asked me questions related to object oriented programming and database management system. And most of the discussion was based on the projects that I've mentioned on my resume. So, they were really into the projects that I mentioned, and they were asking a lot of questions on that. And one thing I've noticed that during my third year, I was shortlisted for internship as well at Citibank, but I could not make it because simply for the reason I did not pay much attention to the concepts of OOPS. And I have noticed this thing that City really focuses more on object oriented programming. So I took a lesson from my previous mistake, and this time I prepared that topic really well. And in the interview, they asked a lot of questions as well from OOPS. And then they asked questions on trees and graphs. After the first round of interview, in the second round, they mostly asked questions related to the questions that I'd answered in the online test. Like they were checking the concepts that I've used in the test to solve the coding questions. After that, they asked me some questions related to my family and generic questions. And I realized that it is very important to have good communication skills in the HR round, because that if you're not able to communicate properly, you might get rejected, and it is a very close cut off between two candidates. So even if you know all the concepts and you're able to answer everything, if you lack good communication skills, you might lose the opportunity. So if you're not good at communicating, I would say that work a little bit on it. And with all the, like, for city, it is very important to know oops and database. So if you still haven't done it, I would say with coding, just give some time every day to both of these things. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very helpful answer. So my next question is for Palak, ma'am. Ma'am, you also worked at other prestigious companies like Paytm, Grad, and Citibank. So how did you prepare for these roles, and what would your advice be to people with similar aspirations?
So I think as Ayushi has almost covered everything. So putting everything you've done in your resume is a good thing to do, because then as soon as you're out of college, you don't have a lot of things to put in your resume, and your resume has to be one page. Like you need to fill it up. So I think filling it up with a lot of projects from college and a lot of skills that you have, including soft skills, is very important. Also, I think it's not very tough to get into these companies. They are big brands, but if you know what you are getting into, if you have studied up the company well, and if you know the job role well, you can get into it. And I think it's very important to feel confident, because it exudes confidence out of you in interview rounds. One thing I would really like to share is I never prepare for HR interviews. I feel like keeping the HR interviews raw and honest is very important. It comes naturally. It is important to show them your true side. And I think so. In all of my HR rounds, I have told them that I'm not from a coding background. I have always been a biology enthusiast, and somehow I always get end up selected. So I think it's they appreciate honesty. And also it really helps a lot if you've read up on the company. It shows that you respect the company as much as they respect you. As if you are expecting them to read up on your resume, you should read up on what the company has to offer and why you want to join the company. You should be prepared with that answer, because it shows that you really want to get into that company. So yeah, that's it, I think.
Thank you for your answer, ma'am. This brings us to my final question for Ishita, ma'am. So, is there anything that you wish you had known before you started preparing for placements?
Yes, actually a lot. Okay, so starting from the first point that I always heard from, I think many a people, that CGPA doesn't matter. Okay, that's not the thing. CGPA actually matters, and if you have this false conception that CGPA is not going to matter, my grades do not matter, and you have a CGPA of around 5 to 6, and you are sitting in actually you won't even be able to sit in any company's test. If I talk about the major companies, so they have this basic shortlisting at first. From my experience, our CGM company even had a shortlist of 8.5 CGPA cutoff. So I would say having 8 plus CGPA is very, very good to have if you can maintain that. And if you are from CS based branches, then this CGPA would also help you in gaining the knowledge about the core CS subject. So that would be a plus. So one thing is that another thing that actually I now realized that was important was to give a lot of mock interviews. So basically, you don't want to be the final interview to be the one where you get rejected. So obviously, mock interviews would help you a lot in realizing where you miss out and what are actually the corner things or the cases where you need to work upon and what are you lacking from other candidates. So you can just get in touch with any of your peers or your seniors or maybe someone at home for googliness kind of interviews where you can just talk about your experience. So that will actually help with the improving the communication skills as well, as Ayushi mentioned. So mock interviews are a plus. And other things, as Palak mentioned, never go without reading about the company. So, like, it should show that you have done a deep dive around the profile and around the background of the company and why are you actually interested. So, just saying that Amazon is a big brand and I want to work on a larger scale or something, that is not going to help you out in an interview. You actually need to come up with a couple of points that why are you interested or something. If you can like get through it um, at right at the time of interview, that is very, very nice to have. But talking about the normal audience and about myself as well, I would say doing a little deep dive beforehand would help a lot. And let me think about one or two others as well. I think um, yes. Yes, I would also again like to repeat that prepare as early as you can. Coding is not something that you can prepare for overnight, and you need to be consistent at it, and you need to practice a lot of questions to be able to come up with different approaches, different solutions, and like solve a completely new problem during interviews. So it is very good to keep coding, keep solving questions, keep discussing solutions with your peers and why a particular solution is better than theirs or just any solution given on, say, lead code discussion or something. I think these are the things. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really amazing advice. So now we have some questions for the panelists, which we collected from the audience beforehand. So let me just start with the first question. So, how to write essays for women in tech centric scholarships, especially when you're not good at creative writing? Palak ma'am and Shatakshi ma'am, can you please answer this?
Yeah, so I'll start. So if I'm missing anything, Palak, please feel free to add. So when you are writing answers, you do not have to be a very good writer. Or like you mentioned, if you are not having creative writing skills, that is not really necessary. Even I am not a very good writer. I would say I'm like at an average to medium. So whatever you write, just make sure that the things are very crisp and clear. Although you need to explain the things, but make sure that you are not writing redundant information and give a straightforward, meaningful things which the person who is checking the applications is looking for. So, give them useful things in a very crisp manner, explain the things, but do not give a redundant information, and write whatever is the truth. You do not need to exaggerate things a lot. Just write whatever you have, you are whatever you are doing, and do not, as I mentioned earlier, do not think that. Only the things which, like, if I talk about the extracurricular, then only the things which people generally write in extracurricular, we have to write the same. Do not think like that. Write whatever you do. you might be doing something which nobody else who is applying is doing. So that can help you make your application stand out from others. So write about yourself, write the genuine answers and explain them well. So Palak can tell more as she has like written for the uh, foreign university. So those applications are really tough. I think we have to write a lot in those applications.
So I think they are similar. It's not a big deal. I think I'll say something very dreamy right now, but a lot of times we just don't believe that we are as great as the essay wants us to say. But really look within yourselves, and I'm very sure now that I've given up so many applications that every one of us has something unique to offer. And I know it sounds very Bollywood movie like, but it is true, and you have so much to offer. Like, I'm sure there are things that you are proud of, littlest things like taking care of your grandparents when your parents are not at home. So I'm not telling you to write those things in your essay, but even the smallest things count, and you have to make yourself the hero of your story. In your statement of purpose, you have to tell your story in such a way that it is thrilling, and the reader from the selection committee finds himself or herself intrigued in your story. They want to help you get to the college, and they want to help you they want to pave a path for you in your education and in your career. So I think that is very, very important to tell your story in a way that captures people's attentions.
I'll 100% agree to what Palak ma'am and Shatakshi ma'am said about the about this not being a Bollywood movie like thing, that it can be reality. Everyone is unique, and I agree to that. So, like adding on to that, would you like to shed some light on what one would do if you've never experienced the situation the questions ask you to write about?
So I think that has happened a lot with me. What I do is I think of a situation that I would like to solve. Like, I think of a problem that my friends might have faced, and a solution to that problem. What I would have taken, the steps that I would have taken, and my friend didn't. So I just write about those problems because there are a lot of applications that ask for questions that people have not gone through. So it makes us feel like we are being dishonest, but it's not true. You can just tell them that if I would have been in this if I would have been stuck in this position, I would have done this. And I think that suffice that is sufficient.
Okay. So my next question is for Ayushi ma'am. So ma'am, one of the students says that I would like to learn and explore about the various opportunities and challenges faced by women in STEM. What is your opinion on that?
Actually, one of the, I would not call it a challenge, but it is a problem that many women in STEM, they don't look out for opportunities, whereas there are plenty of opportunities. Like for instance, there are specific coding hackathons that are being held for women, and most of the girls that are, they are not really aware of it, they don't have an idea, and many of them who are aware just lack the confidence to participate and just, experience the whole thing and just move on. But I feel that we should keep on a lookout for these things, because they are really great opportunities. They can really get you a lot ahead, and they are comparatively much easier than the campus recruitments that we go through. One thing would be to, just keep looking out for opportunities. Secondly, some of the challenges are, like, they are not challenges, but a lot of times people say things like, just because these things have been, people have said these things to me, and these things make you feel bad, but you should not, lose your confidence. Many a times people have just come up and said to me that you have been getting these opportunities just because you have a good CGPA, or you're just because you are a female, and companies want to balance out their male to female ratio. But that is not the case. We should not dishearten ourselves or get hurt by these things, because they are, even, I mean, they're not true. And even if I am a woman and I got the opportunity, it is because I deserve it. So that is how we should deal with these things. We should not let them hamper with our thinking and hamper with our progress.
I think that is very true. Due to this misogyny, all of this, I think
Yeah,
all us girls, we should think that all of this is just noise and concentrate and focus on what is important for us.
exactly.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, Ishita ma'am and Aishi ma'am, would you like to add something to that? Oh, sorry, Aishi ma'am just said it. Ishita ma'am, would you like to add something to that? To that?
Yeah, no. Yeah, actually, what Ayushi said is true. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and we just need to be a little aware, and we just need to socialize a bit with our seniors or maybe peers, and just watch out for such opportunities. For example, Adobe Women in Tech scholarship is there. So a lot of scholarships, a lot of hackathons, particularly for women, for example. Just even organized by IEEE Women in Tech as well, and also by ACMW, the Women Chapter. So a lot of opportunities are there. There are female specific hiring drives as well. So just look out for these opportunities. And I think a little, not exactly challenge, but I would say, just talking about from my experience, what I faced during my college days was basically trying to build my team for a particular hackathon and not having uh, much contacts, and like struggling to get to build a new team, or just get into a team that has all male members, and struggling to get into such groups which have awesome people working on the stuff that I like. Say I talk about Android apps. So uh, this was something I learned along the way, that try to build up your connections. It does not matter that you come from a background that didn't had knowledge about such kind of things. It does not matter at all. You are in college right now, and you are like open to every kind of opportunities. So just keep up with all your peers, and try to build connections, try to participate in hackathons. And I would even say, if you're not able to find any right team for yourself, just go there as a lone wolf, and you will find someone there who is just like you, and you can just build a team with them, and try to work on a lot of stuff and enjoy. That's it.
That was very enlightening, ma'am. Thank you. Now I would like to invite to the panel Nitya Mittal ma'am, who is the event coordinator of IEEE DTU, for thanking all of our panelists.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm Nitya Mittal, event coordinator at IEEE DTU, and I'm here to present the vote of thanks for today's webinar. I would like to thank our speakers for today, Shatakshi Singh ma'am, Ishita Sharma ma'am, Palak Aggarwal ma'am, and Ayushi Keshurwani ma'am for enlightening us with their knowledge. Today's webinar was full of insightful information on the opportunities in STEM for women. I'm pretty sure that after listening to the journeys of our panelists, the audience is highly motivated to reach great heights in their careers as well. We had a delightful session today, and this has been made possible by our gracious speakers and by the efforts of the IEEE DTU team. I thank the volunteers of IEEE DTU WIE for the hard work that they have put in to make the event a success. This event is also dedicated to mark the occasion of IEEE Day. I thank you all for being such a wonderful audience and wish everyone a happy IEEE Day. Thank you, everyone.
Same to you.
And with that,
Yeah.
I would like to end the live.
Thanks a lot, everyone.